What is up, everybody? Jacob here, and we are back with another video. In today's video, we got a trailer build that we just finished up today, hooked up to this truck. We've been doing a lot of work on this trailer in the past few weeks. He upgraded to one of the new P40s with a CRX 225, so we'll be showing y'all that. We're waiting on it to fill up with water right now. Today he brought it back by. He had two of the crate tanks like you see on the industrial side a lot of times in the plants that they deliver chemicals in and stuff like that. It just got a metal cage around them, and it's like a 300 gallon or a 225 gallon. I believe they make different sizes. I think his were two 325 gallon tanks that he had on his trailer before. They took up a lot of space. They took up about 8 foot total. Those are about 4x4 square tanks. So they do take up a lot of room. They are cheap. They are a little bit thinner of a plastic than something like the tank that we just put on his trailer that y'all are about to see in just a second. But they do work great. They are a lot cheaper. This 425 gallon tank that he has now, a guy came into the store the other day, one of the guys that recently retired, and he was telling us about one of his buddies that had this tank for sale. So we started calling around. He was selling it for 500 bucks, which is a great deal. If you haven't looked up the price of a 425 gallon horizontal leg tank, look it up. It's definitely a lot more expensive than $500. I believe they're actually about double that price, if not a little more right now. So very good deal on this tank. He didn't want to pass it up, so he went ahead and got it. He came by this morning. We ripped the crate tanks off, cut all the hoses off because we knew we would be able to make them a lot shorter coming from his manifold and his pump and his bypass lines for his pressure washers. I'll show you all how we rigged everything up in just a second. Before we get into that, if you're looking to pick up more work, stay busy through the off season, Local Domination 2, be sure to go check that out. Show you everything that you need to know on how to land these bigger jobs, stay busy through the off season, and different things like that. How to get your business ranked on Google and also run effective ads that can lead to multiple leads a day to where you're able to grow and scale your business to the next level. So be sure to go check that out. Also, Quote IQ, if you haven't checked it out before, definitely go check that out. That's a CRM that we use. We've been using it now for about 3 years, and it runs our entire business. We're able to schedule jobs. Also, you're able to send professional looking estimates, invoices. They're able to pay by card through invoices on Quote IQ. So really good tool to have, especially if you don't have something that's already running your business. If you don't, I would definitely recommend go check out that second link in the comment section in the description. If you do have something already in place and it works good for you, either keep that, or if you're looking for something else, be sure to go check that link out. So they just cranked the P40 up. The new P40 right here. Getting it primed back up right now. Anytime that you do unhook your hoses from your pump, your manifold, you know, whatever it is, whether it's 12 volt or gas or 24 volt, whatever the case may be, you can see now all the air coming out of it. You will get a bunch of air in your system. So you do want to fill your tank up, you know, with enough water to where your drop sticks going into the water tank are submerged. And also your chemical tank, if you have chemical in your tank, and crank your pump up and get water flowing through it before you get on the job. That way you can make sure that everything's good to go. You don't have any leaks, anything like that. No customer that brings us their system is ever given back their system without us running their system first. That way if something is wrong, you know, they're paying us to do this kind of work for them, and we don't want them to get on a job and us be the reason that they're not able to complete that job or that they have to leave that job. So no system leaves here without being ran and tested before giving back to the customer. That being said, he is running one of the water boss guns. You can see that Kale has it in his hand now. Highly recommended gun. We love ours that we use. This customer bought this one from us and has talked highly of it. He's actually sold one for us in the store. He was in here at one point and was talking it up to one of the other customers that was also in the store, and the other customer ended up buying it on the spot. So we do love that gun, and it is what we recommend. They also do sell rebuild kits for that gun for like 50 or 60 bucks online, so you're able to, you know, repair the internals and the tip and stuff like that without having to spend the full $200 again on a new gun. Moving on from that, you can see we got his yellow ag hose coming down. That is a 3/4 from the discharge of the pump and running to the barb on his hose reel right there. The AR45s are a 1/2 inch that runs from the discharge side of the pump to the hose reel. The new P40s and the old P40s are both 3/4. going from the discharge to the hose reel. So that is one plus over the AR-45s in my opinion, because you're able to pull more water through that hose to your reel. Now, yes, he is running a 1/2-inch hose, so it does reduce down at the reel, but it's better, in my opinion, to have it reduced down at the reel than on the actual pump, to keep the pressure off of the actual pump itself and put more pressure on the reel, because you don't want to have to replace this manifold. This manifold by itself is the one-piece manifold. Like I said, it's the new P40. So they did go from the multiple piece manifold on the old style to a one-piece manifold with a horizontal bypass that you are able to install a gauge on. Do have his gauge put on. That is a big benefit, and one of the reasons why we went ahead and threw one of these P40s on our trailer. We bought just the pump and the gearbox and went to Harbor Freight and bought a Predator motor to save some money. He is running a CRX 225cc, and this thing is pretty freaking impressive if you ask me. Like, he's able to achieve about 70 feet out of this, 60 or 70 feet with no wind, and that's not even his pressure turned all the way up. So these things are very impressive if you ask me, versus the AR-45s or even the old style P40s. They are able to put out a lot more. They do have a 1-inch inlet side coming from your manifold, running to the center of the actual manifold itself on the pump. Being that it's going to the center now, instead of kind of offset up by the bypass like the old style P40, whenever you have a spike in pressure, it's able to disperse that pressure spike evenly throughout the manifold. And being that it's a single piece manifold, it's all molded together. There's inlet hose of the pump. You can kind of see right there where that elbow is. That's where your hose, your 1-inch line coming from your discharge side of your manifold to the actual pump goes. So it goes from the right side of your manifold with a 1-inch barb. You come out and you go into the centerpiece of the manifold. Very good upgrade in our opinion. If you haven't checked out the new P40s, be sure to check them out. They are kind of hard to find right now. We did install 3 of these within the past week. I have videos coming on the other 2. This was one of them, and we did 2 more. So I have videos coming out on that. So be sure to stay tuned and check that out. A while back, whenever we rebuilt this trailer about 5 times. Like I said, he had the 2 crate tanks. He's running a 100-gallon bleach tank up front. He had this hose reel rack welded and mounted on the driver's side. His blend manifold that is up front was originally back here. So we moved that up. We put 2 pieces of angle iron, and what we did was cut them to match the existing angle iron that was on the rail of the trailer. To the top, all the way down to the bottom, flush with the bottom of the deck of the trailer. You know, just make it look clean and make it almost like a homemade manifold stand, basically. Just put 2 pieces of angle coming down, and we mounted them to fit to where the manifold, the plate on the manifold would actually just bolt directly to those 2 pieces in between the 2 pieces of angle. So it worked out great. Looks good, it looks clean, it looks way cleaner than he had it before. I wish I would have got some before clips of this trailer. I may have some, I'll have to look back. But moving on, we came out of each of his legs for his pressure washer. There's one bulkhead coming to this washer, which is the CRX 750, 10-gallon a minute unit here that he put on a few weeks ago, that he also purchased from us. He went and bought this 13-gallon fuel tank to tie both of his pressure washers into one fuel cell. That he bought at Northern Tool for, I believe, around 280 bucks, 300 bucks, something like that. A little while ago, they did have one in stock, so he went and picked it up. That's the same type of fuel tank that we just put on our flatbed, and they are pretty sweet fuel tanks. If you haven't checked these out yet, or if you don't run an external fuel cell, they got the fuel gauge on top of them, so you're able to keep track of your fuel without having to unscrew the cap all the time. This unit right here, he bought off of Facebook Marketplace from a guy. Got a good deal on it. It's an IGX 800, 8-gallon a minute unit, and he says it runs fantastic. Doesn't have any issues with it, so got a good deal on it. Went and picked that up, put the 10 on at the same time, and he's going to be purchasing another 10 from us, and they're buying a company truck. Got his bulkhead for his 8-gallon a minute coming out of the other leg of the tank right here. So we got one on the outside of that leg, one on the outside of this leg. and we went to Lowe's, bought a 90 and some 2-inch PVC, and we got a dump valve right here that is tied to the rail of the trailer, to the grating of the trailer right here. We just zip tied it up here to keep it in place. That way he's able to dump his water and drain his tank, use it to fill up buckets, rinse his hands, whatever he needs to do while he's on the job or after he leaves the job. Bypass lines coming up from the washers. This is the bypass line for the 8 coming up to a 1/2-inch bulkhead. These are this is a 3/8 line. That other one is a 1/2-inch line coming from the 10. Once you get past 8 gallons a minute, do recommend upgrading to the 1/2-inch bypass line, just to where you're not keeping so much pressure on this while it is dropped down into the bottom of the tank. You have to come out of that bulkhead, out of the bottom of that bulkhead with a hose that drops down into the bottom of the tank to keep from pulling air through your bypass whenever you initially let off the trigger. And we have his 3/4 coming from his reel up to this bulkhead here. That's his feed line going up from this reel right here. And he's gonna need to double feed this tank. That was kind of our debate whenever he was purchasing this tank, was whether or not he was gonna have enough water. I know there is some guys on the internet and on YouTube that just put out a video of a live, and they were talking about tanks and stuff like that. You know, whether or not you could run a 100-gallon tank like this one, or if you needed a 425-gallon tank like this. I'm not gonna mention any names, but they did put a video out on it, and they said you could run basically the smallest tank as you want and be fine with whatever washer you're running. And yeah, that's true, as long as you got water pressure that's gonna keep up with it. But what if you run into a job where they don't have access to water, or they have too little water pressure and you're running something like 18 gallons a minute? Then you're gonna be in a bind and you're gonna wish you had something like a 425-gallon tank. So not always true in my opinion. It is kind of opinion based, kind of depends on the type of scenario that you're in, the situation that you're in. In my opinion, the bigger tank, the better, especially if it's one of these style tanks. I'm not saying that we always recommend to run the crate tanks, just because they are, you know, a little bit thinner plastic. Like this is a lot thicker, hold bulkheads a lot better, it's a lot more durable tank. So that's about it for this trailer build. Rolling out while I'm creating this video, so that's real good. No, I'm just kidding. He's going to fill up with some bleach. They got to go to work tonight, so he's going to stop right here, fill up with some bleach. Pump's good. We worked all the air out of the pump, out of the system. Got water flowing through the manifold and through his hose, so that's good to go. We know everything works. No leaks, no nothing like that. He's about to fill up with some bleach. He'll probably just try his bleach out whenever they get to the job. As long as you get the air out of the system on the water side, and you don't have any leaks on the chemical side, like if you have new fittings, like we replaced most of his manifold fittings before we actually put it back on the trailer. So we know that pretty much everything on his chemical side is going to be good, and there's no air left in his pump or anywhere. It's primed up, it's ready to go, so it shouldn't have any issues drawing a suction on the chemical side once he decides to start pulling chemical once they get to the job. That being said, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I'll be sure to look for some older videos that we may have on this trailer, because this trailer has come a long way from the first time we did it. He used to run 2 5s on this trailer, and they were both teed into the same line, going to the same bulkhead on the tank that he had at the time. And if you're doing that, you better make sure that both of your lines are the same size and the same length going to your tank, or to that T at least, that's going to that one bulkhead, because if not, one washer is going to draw way more than the other washer, and it's basically going to starve out the one that is has the longer run of hose. So that's why we always recommend run 2 separate bulkheads like this. We got 2 separate bulkheads. You can run them from the same tank, won't have any issues. He's going to drain water faster, being, you know, off of one tank versus the 2 tanks that he had. But like I said, he's able to double feed, put a hose in the lid, double feed the tank, and he shouldn't have really any issues. But run 2 separate bulkheads, especially if you're running bigger machines like this, and you shouldn't have any issues. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. Y'all stay tuned for the other 2 P40 videos that I'll be putting out within the next week or 2. And also, y'all go check out that first and second link in the comment section and the description. And until next time, my name is Jacob. And as always, y'all stay happy, humble, and money hungry.